What up, people? It's your boy Chig. I just realized something. Hold on. It would help if I put this on, wouldn't it? Sorry. What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye. Coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is Eagle Eye, the transfer rumour show where I talk to you about rumours and news surrounding the Arsenal. Big up to everyone that is coming into the chat, particularly if you're doing a multi thing with Lee's private stream and myself. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Please do stick a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as I take you through these shows. I say directly after this, around about 8:30, 9:30, I will be doing a goal stream. It'll be FIFA. So they have a bit of a FIFA night for the goal stream members. And make sure you look out for that as I continue my football journey. I'm going to do a stream for both the silver and gold members. I was going to do it tonight, but I've got a couple of work things to do. So I'm going to do it tomorrow evening, probably around 10. So keep a lookout for that if you remember. I'm just going to kick it with you guys, have a little chit chat about anything, football, life, whatever. And have a little chit chat. All right, I think that's that. Let's talk about football news. Oh gosh, depressing stuff. Woke up today, and truth be told, I expected this news for some time. I expected it probably since January when we rejected an initial bid for this person by Brentford. But when we rejected it, I stupidly allowed myself to become hopeful that, maybe Arsenal realised, no, this guy is a valuable asset. We need to be holding on to him. Anyway, Florian Balogun, 18-year-old striker. To say he's prolific would be an understatement. He scored 52 goals, 12 assists, and 71 appearances for between obviously Arsenal under 18s and Arsenal under 23s. He's set to leave the club. Arsenal's hottest prospect at that level is set to leave the club. And if you're a real one, you will know that for the past 18 months, I've been talking about two players that Arsenal fans should be very excited by. One of them was Bukayo Saka. One of them was Florian Balogun. I think at the time people were like a bit suspicious because both of them are British Nigerians, so they kind of just assumed, it'd just be a bias just because they happen to both be British Nigerians. Nope, I just knew that they were good. And actually, British Nigerians is a stretch because Balogun can technically represent England, Nigeria, and America. He was born technically in America, for anyone who didn't know that. So yeah, it looks like he's set to leave. Ridiculously prolific striker. Had a lot of high hopes for him personally. Someone who I felt would kick on and really become something. I always kind of held out hope, particularly over the course of towards the end of the season, that I'd start to see him in benches. Because Arteta seems compelled to play Aubameyang on that left-hand side. So I kind of figured, okay, well, you've only got Eddie and what's his name? You only got Eddie and Lacazette as out-and-out strikers. And then particularly when I saw that Martinelli was injured, I thought the only plus point about that is hopefully now is the opportunity where I could see Balogun. And still nothing. And now it's come out today that Arsenal had been in talks with Balogun for the last couple of weeks regarding a new contract. And he's turned around and he's rejected it. So Arsenal have basically said that, okay, well, we're going to have to sell you. And any interested club that wants to come in for him must include a at least a sell-on clause. In my mind, there needs to be a buy-back clause. Like, that's what we need to be doing. What we should have been offering him, personally, would have been, you would have thought they would have said to him, all right, well, why don't we give you a new contract? You go out on loan somewhere. Then by the time you come back, you would have thought Lacazette would have moved on, Aubameyang would have moved on. Maybe there might be potentially an Usman Edouard there, but there would be surely more opportunities with two strikers moving on. But who knows if that even creeped into their mind. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm just depressed at hearing that news. I was so bummed out. Just hearing that because he has so much ability, so much ability. Like I keep saying to people, because people, and I'm sure they'll be saying it in the chat room now. People keep saying, "Oh, well, how do you know Chig?" My guy, when I watch Arsenal, I watch more than just the first team. I'll tell you that now. I watch more than just the first team, so I have an idea of up and coming decent players. We have one more, by the way, in the central midfield, who I think could potentially be a really good player. But I digress. For me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gutted. I'm gutted. I'm gutted at the fact that Arsenal look set to lose another youngster. When Malin left this club, I knew that boy would kick on and do something because I saw the sort of displays that he was. I saw the sort of skills he was doing. Well, not even sort of skills, just the sort of player he was at under 23s. An explosive, quick player who could find the net. I thought there's no way that he doesn't move abroad and just be able to do that. And more often than not, this is what these guys go on and do. They will leave, but they will tend to go abroad because abroad, especially when you have a bit of a slight frame, that's just the thing to do. Whereas in England, you're probably required to bulk up a little bit. What he should go and do, Balogun, what I'd like to personally see him go and do, is I'd like to see him play somewhere like France, maybe, like go to Nice, maybe, for Patrick, play a couple of years out there. Different experience, different language, different culture. Play a couple of years out there, hopefully become what I expect him to be, really prolific. And then Arsenal think, well, we've got a buyback clause. So let's go out there and go and get him back. And then they go and get him back. That's personally what I would like to see happen. I think France would be a good opportunity for him to be able to really show what he can do. France generally is very good at looking after young players. So is Holland, by the way. So for me, if I was him, those would be the places I look to go. Dortmund is another option. Borussia Dortmund, if they were interested, they'd be another decent option. Now, people might be looking and saying, really? You think it's realistic that these teams are going for him? AC Milan were after him in January. They just didn't manage to get an offer in. But AC Milan were very interested in. I'm guessing from the Ivan knowledge, obviously Ivan would have been aware of the sort of ability that the kid had. So I think it's very, very possible. And let's face it, Borussia Dortmund likes picking up these youngsters quickly for dirt cheap, and then they suddenly become very, very expensive. So Borussia Dortmund, I would say Germany also is probably a good place for him to go. I'd like to see him avoid the championship. I don't want him to do that. I'd like to see him avoid the Premiership generally. I'd like for him to get into his stride before then learning the physical side of the game. I think he has the schooling of the physical side of the game, but I just want to see him now just set off and go. But yeah, for those people have asked, I've had some DMs today. Obviously, the real ones knowing that I've flagged his name up quite a few times on my channel. I'm gutted. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gutted. Gutted. Um, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I know somebody will ask. Yes, I would have been able to take Thomas Partey not coming to the club better than I've taken this news, even though I expected this news, just because I know what the kid can do, and just now seeing him leave and potentially do that for someone else, is going to be heart wrenching. On the flip side, if he opts to represent Nigeria, I can't wait to see what he does. If he opts to represent Nigeria in football, I'm well happy with that. But yeah, I think from a football club point of view, we've lost a gem. So we'll see what happens. But all I can say is good luck to the kid. I get it. I totally get it. I totally get why he'd want to um, go elsewhere and develop further. I just wish we could have done that for him. But it is what it is. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Like Omar says, we never learn. We never ever learn. Let's talk about Malin. There's also Jeff Adelaide. How many of us would say Jeff Adelaide should be playing? And Venner just refused. Constantly overlooked him. Gnabry is the obvious massive one. He's a superstar now. We had that. And most of us could see it. Most of us saw it in Gnabry. You know, the West Brom thing never really changed my mind on it. I always knew there was something in Gnabry. But again, we just couldn't do what we needed to do. The one that surprised me, I'll hold my hands up, is the Benacio, however you say his name. Didn't see that one coming. Didn't see anything particularly special in him when I used to watch the under 18s, under 23s. Didn't really see anything particularly special in him. And fair play to him. He's worked hard. He's developed. He's become a very good player. So it's a shame. It's like we can't buy. So it seems like we can't seem to spend the money properly, and the gems we do have, we can't seem to identify them properly. I'm laughing, but it's so depressing. But anyway, it is what it is. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. All right, let's talk about Thomas Partey. Obviously, the stories for Partey will increase this week because the story over the weekend was the fact that Partey's agent will be looking to come over this week. So you can only imagine the Partey stories are going to get ramped up. The story has been a story that has not gone away for about 2.5 months. Ever since Thomas Partey's dad basically came out and said, yeah, that he would love Partey to choose Arsenal. And since then, it's just been a constant story, merry-go-round. Typically, when stories are protracted like this, when it involves Arsenal, other teams, it doesn't necessarily matter. When it involves Arsenal, generally we fail to get that player. So you do worry sometimes when you're not hearing enough about actual developments. One of the things that apparently has been agreed has been the price. But in my mind, I'm like, but the price was always agreed, wasn't it? He has a clause. But that's what a lot of the stories are talking about today, that the price will be £45.6 million sterling. I guess the only thing that confirms is that it'll be money that's paid as opposed to a swap with Guendouzi, which was what some of Saturday's stories were about. So it looks like we're going to pay the money if he is to come. I must admit, at this stage, who knows? I think we could go either way, the deal. But I remember somebody asked me 2 months ago, percentage-wise, what do you think the likelihood is of Partey coming to Arsenal is? And I said 12%. 2 months on, if you had to ask me that same question, 35%, maybe. So we'll see what happens. But Thomas Partey to Arsenal, I think those stories are only going to start increasing heavily this week. So I would say keep an eye out on that one. Okay, let's keep going. Midnight, I'll answer your question shortly. Remind me again, I'll answer your question shortly. Uh, let's talk about. Let's talk. I've got a story up as well, so I knew I'd forget the damn story. So Arsenal want a new striker, a name that none of us have heard this summer. Wolfsburg striker Wout Weghorst. Wout Weghorst. He's 6'5". He's 27 years old. And to be fair, the guy's a banger, according to the stats here. He scores goals. This season, so far, he's scored in all competitions 20 goals this season. Big 6'5" striker as well. I know people are massively in favour of a target man, particularly if you're playing the system that we play. Maybe it's best if that you have that guy that can hold up the ball and allow your Pepes and your Pepes, your Sakas, Martinelli's, people like that to run around you. So I can see the logic in it. They are basically suggesting that should Aubameyang leave for 35 million, that this guy from Wolfsburg will be the guy that they target. The price that they're targeting is 32.5 million. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. I mean, that would be a big call. 27 years old. Guy that can definitely score goals in the Bundesliga. But can he score goals over here? I think for me personally, and I don't know if I'm speaking for you lot too, if there was a choice between him and Usain Edouard, surely it's got to be Edouard. Like surely. To me, Edouard, I think it'd be more than 25 million. I think Edouard will probably go for about 30 million pounds, right? Surely Edouard, at least with Edouard, the one thing I would say for Edouard is he's at least used to the weather and the climate here. He's probably used to harsher conditions than what is in London, based on his time at Celtic, which might sound like a stupid thing to say, but trust me, them stupid things affect top strikers, just the climate, the temperature, the fact that you play on some tough surfaces. He has that schooling with him. You guys know me personally. I would still want Moussa Dembele, but they're talking like 80 million for him, and there's no way on a normal season Arsenal's thumping up 80 million for him. So I feel like for me, I think that option is probably the option that makes the most sense. I do like the idea of a big target man myself, but I also think Usain Edouard can play that role as well. He's explosive. He's built like a brick shit house. I don't know if anyone's actually seen him. It's pretty wedge. So like people ain't gonna barge him off the ball. He's not the tallest, but who cares? I feel like to me that's the way to go. But what do you guys think? £32.5 million for striker Wout Weghorst. I think I said it properly now. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. So supposedly Arsenal are preparing an offer for the £14 million winger. Let's find out who that £40 million weighted winner is. So £40 million, we're preparing. Can't say the word preparing. Preparing a £40 million offer for Joel. Is that his name? Jolson Fernandez, who's the Sporting Lisbon 17-year-old left winger. Now, this is a guy who people have a lot of high hopes for. I'm also going to speak about another 17-year-old very, very shortly. But this is a guy that people have a lot of high hopes for. Some people describe him as the next Ronaldo. Some people they're very, very high on him. Sporting Lisbon themselves currently have a £40 million release clause with him. In fact, they're so desperate to get him to the table for a new contract, they want to raise his release clause from 40 million, which you would think is a lot for a 17-year-old as it is, to 80 million euros. So this is a guy that they have a lot of high hopes for. And supposedly Arsenal are preparing an offer, because Arteta's new vision is now focused very much on the youth. You heard him talk very highly about Eddie. Quite to be honest, he's been talking highly about Eddie for the last couple of months, but really singing up his praises at the moment at Eddie Nketiah. And I think he wants to build this team with the view of potentially winning the Premier League in the next 2 to 3 years, which the 2 to 3 year target, I think is a decent target. I think it might be a bit soon, but it's a decent target. And certainly players like this will get you closer there. But I'm just wondering where all these people are going to fit. You've already got Pepe on the right-hand side. You got Saka on the left-hand side. So my guess is that this guy, I don't know if he's going to be a winger. Maybe he might opt to move Saka inside and put this guy on the right-hand side. It'll be interesting to see what he does and what he actually means when he says that, that this is going to be the new focus for Arteta's long-term vision. What do you guys think? Is anyone more familiar with Jolson Fernandez? Because I'm not going to sit here BSing you. I think it's important to know that, yes, I've watched some clips of him. He looks very good. Got a lot of speed. Loves a step over. So did Ronaldo when he first came into the Premier League. When Ronaldo was 18, he first came into the Premier League. My man, that's all he could basically do, was just step overs and just run at you quickly. And he seems to have a very similar approach. So from that perspective, I get why he's compared to Ronaldo. But yeah, he clearly has a lot of people watching him as well. Real Madrid are interested in him. Barcelona are interested in him. But I've always said to you, if you were that age, you don't go to them teams early, because you are probably going to sit in their B team and not do anything until you're maybe 22, 23. Whereas if he goes to an Arsenal, makes a name of himself, maybe Arsenal pay ridiculous money for him, then they come in, pay 100 mil, go take him. Arsenal are happy because Arsenal like a pound note. He's happy. He gets a dream move to Real Madrid. And Real Madrid are happy because they've got a player that they don't need to now school. So as horrible as all this sounds, this is what we are. We are a glorified feeder team because of the way we have to work our club. So from that perspective, sometimes you got to spend money to make money. And the kid is probably good, but almost in the Guendouzi fashion, I could see him only being a potential investment for Arsenal as opposed to someone that I think that they feel that they can build a team around. Call me cynical, but you guys let me know what you think. Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. All right, we're going to go 20 more minutes before I head up out of here and AFTV do their show. But I'm going to talk about 2 more players before we go, and then I'm going to check in with you guys very, very shortly. Those 2 players I talked about on my community post earlier today. So let's go into that and talk about that and gauge what you guys are thinking by that. All right, let's talk about this one. This is a new name as well. Today was a name for news stories. But according to Spanish outlet OD Valencia, Arsenal have submitted a significant offer for Levante midfielder Enes Baridi, or Baridi. Enes Bardi. Yeah, let's go with that. I've said it how it's spelled, so let's go with that. But also, Fiorentina and an unnamed Bundesliga team are also following the 24-year-old. He's been a regular starter this season. He's made 28 appearances. He scored 4 goals, 4 assists. Plays in a central midfield, left flank type of role. To me, when I read this story, I was like, oh, so this is your budget version of Dominic Szoboszlai, which I guess I suppose I should bring in that story here as well. Obviously, at the weekend, Arsenal were being reported to be heavily in deep negotiations with Szoboszlai. I stupidly allowed myself to become excited because this was one of my dream signings. Don't worry, gold members, I've still got that video coming for you. I noticed I made a mistake, so I've had to correct it, and then I'm going to re-upload it for you guys probably tomorrow now. I'll re-upload that for you, which is going to be my kind of midfield list, my Chig knows best central midfield list of people I want uh, Arsenal to sign this summer. So you'll see that in that list. So I stupidly allowed myself to become excited, only for essentially me to read a story today that Szoboszlai looks like he's headed to AC Milan. Yeah, it looks like Ivan has got one on us. It looks like he's headed to AC Milan for the fee of about 25 million euros. So that's going because it's not even that much. But when I read this story, I was like, oh, okay. So this must be your Dominic Szoboszlai budget version because he plays in a sort of similar sort of positional role. He plays defensive midfield for his country, so I guess he's versatile in what he's able to do, which would explain, I suppose, the lack of assists for a midfielder. Maybe he's one of them ones that kind of hangs back a little bit. He almost looks like he plays in a Granit Xhaka position, which kind of intrigues me a little bit as to how that's going to work. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. 24 years old. They're talking about a price of £10.8 million, which I think is a little shy of 15 million euros. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. And he has 2 years left on his contract as well. And then final story I'll talk about. This is a kid I am pretty excited about, to be fair. One that I would like to see us genuinely go for. And this has been one that I think is number one on Edu's list of players that I think he wants through the door. Obviously, I think Edu's going to want a big signing. The Martinelli one, I'm still not wholly convinced that was an Edu signing because he did come in he was confirmed to come in before Edu was confirmed in the role. Yes, it's very possible that as part of Edu's interview, I guess, or as part of speaking to Edu, maybe Edu already advised the club to go for Martinelli, but I'm still not convinced it's an Edu signing. However, this would be an Edu signing had it been made. Obviously Brazilian. The boy's name is Gabriel Veron. It's a name I mentioned a while ago, maybe 2 months ago or so. Arsenal have been heavily interested in this kid, 17 years old. He is meant to be something special. So much so that Neymar even came out once and labeled him as someone that people should really keep an eye on. And ironically, people call him the new Neymar. So I don't know. Depends if you rate Neymar, I guess, to decide if that's a bad thing or good thing. He plays for Palmeiras at the moment. He's only made 4 senior appearances, but in 4 senior appearances, bear in mind he scored probably spent a combined 92 minutes or so on the field, right? He found the net twice and has produced 1 assist in that time. So they had. And also, he did very well at the under-17s. I think he might have won Golden Boot at the under-17s World Cup. So keep in mind, this guy has spent 92 minutes on the pitch over 4 games. He's scored twice and provided an assist. This guy's done almost more than Mesut Ozil the whole season. It's over 4 appearances, mind you, not even full games. Appearances. I mean, flipping heck, fair play. He did Uh, oh, okay. So I was right. So I'm reading my story a little bit more. So Veron managed to find a net 3 times to help Brazil to the under 17 side last year, winning the Golden Ball Award tournament, best player in the best player. So not Golden Boy, but best player that he won. Um, so yeah, Arsenal and Barcelona are interested in him. I saw somebody on my post say, "Oh, Barcelona are interested in him." It's a wrap. And once again, I will say this: if you are that young, I think people now know it's probably not necessarily advisable to go and join a Barcelona or a Real Madrid. That being said, I'm sure Barcelona are looking for a long-term replacement for Messi. I'm not saying this kid is going to be Messi, but at some point you're going to have to try something. You're going to have to try to do something. Messi is not getting any younger, and this would be a good long-term age potentially to start grooming someone to replace Messi. So let's see what happens. Everton tried it with a bid in January. That's you. If you don't ask, you don't get. They tried with a £12 million bid. That was flat out rejected. Palmeiras are looking somewhere closer to 30 million euros, which is about £26 million. And you know, the one thing I will say for Arsenal, when they spend money, is more likely to be on a kid like this. The logic makes no sense apart from to Arsenal, but it's more likely to be on a kid like this. So let's watch this space. He looks exciting. He looks good. And then if you think about it, between him and Jolson Fernandez, I mean, heck, that team does look exciting. I will say that. Be a bit risky to do if, say, an Aubameyang was to leave, you'll suddenly go to replace him with two 17-year-olds. But I would not put it past Arsenal, guys. I would not put it past Arsenal. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I come to you each and every single day. Tomorrow will be the preview for Arsenal versus Norwich. Obviously, me and Lee will be doing a watch along on Wednesday for that, and we'll be doing a player ratings and player review or match review on this channel straight after the game. So make sure you don't miss that. Anything else? Anything else on this one? No, that's it. That's it. Members, I've already told you what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to do a gold member stream for FIFA. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a member stream, gold and silver, just to kick it, say hello, say thank you for supporting the channel, just kick it with you guys for an hour and see how we go. That'll probably be around 10 p.m. tomorrow. I think that is more or less it. Talked about everything. And that combat show Friday as always. And yeah, I think that's pretty much that. So let's come into the chat room and see what you lot are saying. Please do stick a like on this video. Like squad. Jump on that. That's your job. Jump on that. Ben, Martinelli wasn't an Edu signing. It was a Francis. Yes. I'm glad you said it because I was fairly certain about that. I was fairly certain. But people always say that Martinelli is an Edu signing. Absolutely. So we'll see. Yes, that's right. I'm not mentioning Gaya for a reason. I did see that story yesterday that supposedly Arsenal was still hoping to pick him up, but he wants to stay in France. He says that he's not against moving to England at some point in his career, but that at the moment he wants to stay in France and continue to develop and then be in a position where in a few years' time he can move abroad. To be honest, I respect that. I respect that. No problem with that at all. I hope you're well, Ryan. I hope you're good, my bro. I hope you are good. If I missed any donations or any new members, please let me know. So I'd give them a little shout out. Awful management by the Arsenal hierarchy again. Ewan, I completely agree with you. I think AC. Honestly, babe, I think AC, as much as I hate Ivan the Weasel, at least he's got owners. He's got owners around him now that are more prepared to spend the money required. So yeah, Whereas us, they like to pretend Arsenal doesn't exist until we make a big enough noise. Um, do we stand a chance against City? To be honest, I'm terrified. Uh, there's no need to be terrified. I think we're at the point now with Arsenal where you have to go for it and salvage something out of the season. The only unfortunate thing is I'm sure they'll be thinking the same. Obviously, they lost out to the league to Liverpool by quite a long way. So they'll be pretty annoyed and upset by that. And this gives them a chance to end the season with a trophy. Um, from our point of view, yes, I would have preferred a United or a Chelsea, but I feel like if you're going to win this competition, you have to beat these teams, and we have to beat City. We've beaten them before. Our last FA Cup, we had to beat them in the semis. Was it the last one? Whenever it was, we beat Hull. We had to beat them in the semis, so we've beaten them at that stage before for the FA Cup. I think personally we had a better team then, but it's what it is. So I was disappointed. And I even put a Twitter a tweet and just said, "Oh, well, that was a nice run while they lost it." You just have to do what you have to do. It's our cup. It's our cup, and weird things happen when our cup is on the line. So let's see. I'm not admitting defeat. Fuck City. Um, Dab Norris game is only one day after tomorrow. These games are coming up fast. Yeah, we need to finish the season. Because also people are talking about second outbreaks and second waves and shit like that. So they need to bang out this season quick, finish it, and just finish it and get on with it. And then from a Liverpool fan point of view, I guess they now don't care if the season is finished. They're now champions, so they don't give a damn. Uh, true. You have to, man. You have to. You have to. You can't say, oh well, if Arsenal were to play Barcelona today, and as many times as we've been smoked by Barcelona for years, you won't see me say, oh well, there's no point. Let's put our feet up. We're gonna get smoked for. Nah, brother. It's a semi-final. Go for it. I don't give a damn who it is you're playing. I don't have that attitude of let's making up numbers. Yes, in a league game, I can understand a little bit more why people might have that kind of, oh, let's write that game off and make it up somewhere else and this, that. For a cup, you have stubborn attitude. I don't care. I don't care. It's like someone saying in a boxing match, oh, well, I'm going to get battered anyway, so might as well just go through them. No, you turn up there, you support that person in the belief that maybe, just maybe, they might Buster Douglas their way to the title. And it's as simple as that. And we're down if it's City. Yes, we know they're the better team. Yes, we know they've got the better coach. Yes, we know that they're probably kind of pissed that they got smoked in the league. But I also don't care. Let's smoke these fools. I don't care. Fuck City. Fuck City. You heard me say it. Fuck City. No point going there thinking, oh, we're going to get smoked. Support the team. Fuck City. Um, 5 more minutes, guys, and I'm out of here. 5 more minutes. Chig, I'm telling you, Amiachi is world class. I could feel it. I'm not convinced by that. Maybe yes, maybe yes. I'm 50-50 with that. If we're talking about the same person that left, what was it, 2 years ago under Emery? A year ago, I think he left. Greetings from Toronto. Great show. Hope there's a last minute U-turn on Balogun. That's why people said to me, oh, I think someone said to me, um, why did I tag Balogun? You don't normally tag people. And they're right. I don't normally tag people. I think tagging people is kind of corny. kind of makes you think, what do you expect them to do? I ain't gonna lie, I'm so desperate for Balogun to stay. I just wanted to tag him because I knew that it would just be positive people wanting him to stay. And actually, if you go to his Twitter, you know how normally on Twitter, generally Twitter is full of dickheads. On his mentions, that literally every single one of his mentions is people hoping he stays. I mean, I'm sure deep down there'll be somewhere in him that was like, right, I didn't know so many people knew about me or even wanted me to stay. So I hope, if anything, that might sway him and maybe sway the club to go back to the table one more time. From his perspective, I totally understand why he wants to leave. He must be thinking, well, if you keep Lacazette, what am I supposed to do? What I personally like to see is for a new contract to be signed and then for him to go out on loan. I think having that loan experience builds character. So send him out on loan, no problem with that. Get him to sign that new deal first. And then just hold on for a year and then see if that situation changes. Because then who knows, if Lacazette stays this summer, which I'm kind of half expecting, to be real. I actually am half expecting that. So if Lacazette stays this summer, he won't stay next. So at which point you're then in a position where you can make a properly informed decision. Then Arsenal, from a business perspective, can now demand more. So go figure. This is not difficult. This is not difficult. Hey, Jovino scored over the weekend. Jovino scored over the week. You guys are hating me, man. I defended Jovino back in the day to anyone that dissed. Anyone. Yeah, I know he didn't have end product always, but that guy always tried. And I'll tell you what, if as a defender, defenders didn't enjoy playing him. They didn't. I could totally understand why Wenger liked him. I like Jovino. I don't give a damn. I don't care. I like players that have effort, have heart, and try. If you try at least, and you never hide, you have me. You at least halfway have me. And Jovino always halfway had me. Always. That's what I'm saying. He scored over the weekend, bro. He genuinely scored over the weekend. I was so happy when my phone popped up with that information. I was like, good. All right, guys. I am going to head up out of it, but thank you so much for sticking around with me. I'm going to bounce. Please do stick a like on this video before you get up out of it. Genuinely, it makes so much of a difference when you guys do it. I know you hate me banging on about it. It really does make a difference when you guys do it. So stick a like on that video. Gold members, I'll be back. I'll literally be back in an hour for you lot. An hour and a half. This is me. An hour and a half. I'll be back. All right? So make sure you stick around and I'll see you a bit later. All right. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.